I'm rambling, but it's important.
She ain't born, then she born.
The Department of Homeland Security is planning to spend nearly $40 billion on new immigration detention centers. Documents show ICE is aiming to acquire and renovate 8 large-scale facilities to meet the growing demand and streamline the detention and removal process. Now,
I remember reading this statistic, like this $40 billion on these camps that they're building. And then it's like, if you break it down to the number of beds that they said that they wanted to build, it would be $400,000 per prisoner, right? So that leads to a couple of different scenarios being the case. Number one, very likely they're skimming a bunch off the top, right? Like these private companies that are building these facilities, they're probably way overcharging the government, and Trump probably knows they're overcharging because they're, collaborators with Trump from the past, and Trump probably gets some kind of kickback, or like Donald Trump Jr. gets his fix or whatever, like, for setting up the deal, right? So that's one path. The other path is that they are making maybe way more facilities than they're even letting on. Like they're gonna cram even more people in there. Uh, I don't know. $40 billion is more than a lot of governments have, right? So it's kind of ridiculous that that's going to housing immigrants, and because they're not going to have a good quality of life, right? It's not like all of them are getting their own like Hampton resort hotel room or some shit. Like, no, like all of them are gonna get treated like shit and get crowded into a giant room, like, that has no air conditioning in it. So what is this 40 billion going to?
Republicans are speaking out against the plan. ABC News Justice and Homeland Security reporter Luke Barr has the latest on that story.
Yeah, Diane. So the Department of Homeland Security says they look to implement a new detention model around the country. New Hampshire Governor, a Republican, Kelly Ayotte, released documents last week that outlines ICE's large-scale plan to build facilities across the country, including in Merrimack, New Hampshire. They say, quote, this effort aims to meet the growing demand for bed space and streamline the detention and removal process, focusing on non-traditional facilities built specifically to support ICE's needs, according to the document that they released. Quote, this model includes the acquisition and renovation of 8 large-scale detention centers and processing sites, as well as the acquisition.
I mean, they're calling them detention centers, they're calling them processing sites, but like these shits are glorified tents, bro. Like they're fucking tents. Like they're virtually fucking, they have plastic walls, bro. You know? Like, and again, it's like it would be one thing if they were actually building nice facilities for these people, right? And I feel like, okay, like if you really want to be all capitalist about it, then maybe you can work with the Hamptons or like, Hilton, the fucking Red Roof Resort, I don't know, to like build them like hotel quality facilities while they process them.
She ain't born, then she born.
A valid work permit. I think he's married to an American. He has been in an ICE concentration camp for over 4 months. Some people call it a detention camp. He refers to it as a concentration camp. He's in there.
I mean, it's objectively a concentration camp. Like, it's concentrating a minority population that are politically unpopular for an indefinite amount of time. Like, that's just what a concentration camp is, Now, are they death camps? I mean, technically not, but I feel like that's the only way that this thing is going, right? Like, there's no way that's not what they want to do, and there's no way that things like that probably have already happened. Like, they're probably killing people in there on purpose if they're non-compliant. Like, I don't think that's like that big of a logical leap. I guess there's no evidence for it right now, but there kind of is evidence for it. I'm laughing, but it's not funny.
The caller is Seamus Cullerton. Is that who it is? Who's the host?
Yeah, that's the caller.
Okay, I don't know who the host is. But he took this call. We, again, don't know how he got a phone in there.
The best way I could describe it is probably like a modern day concentration camp. It's a bunch of...
This guy sounds like Irish or some shit. Like, I know it shouldn't technically matter, but I feel like the fact that he's white is going to make some people change their mind who might not have, you know? Because like a lot of this like anti-immigration stuff is very deeply entrenched in racism, you know, especially if you're like American, where you feel like anything that's non-white is weird or foreign or substandard in some kind of way. It was very easy to radicalize the American white population into like this anti-immigrant rhetoric, you know, even though like your average person probably doesn't even come across that many immigrants, to be honest. You know, like growing up, I was in New Jersey, which I guess isn't a super high immigrant population, but there's still tons of immigrants there, and I didn't feel like I was just running across an immigrant all the time. But then again, I was part of the other group though. Like, you know, I'm black, so I know that like, you know, everybody that's not white in America kind of gets the racial hierarchy type shit. You know, I'm rambling, but it's important. So like, we basically live in an apartheid state here already. You know.
Very tense. There's probably room for 1,000 detainees in each tent. I believe there's like 5 tents. I've been locked in the same room now for 4.5 months. I've had barely any outside time, no fresh air, no sunshine. I could probably count on both hands the amount of times I've been outside. So I'm just locked in this room all day, every day. We've got 2 TVs on the wall. We get 3 meals a day, very, very small meals, kid-sized meals. So everybody's hungry, everybody's tired. We've got no commissary, we've got no options to get extra food or anything like that. And the conditions here are filthy. The toilets, the showers, completely nasty, very rarely cleaned. I'm in fear for my life down here, honestly, because people have been killed by the staff here, by the security staff, you know. And you just don't know what's going to happen on a day-to-day basis. You don't know if there's going to be riots. You don't know if there's going to be. You don't know what's going to happen. It's a nightmare down here.
I mean, is there competition?
I mean, I don't know. A friend of mine from when I was a club promoter actually got deported by ICE. He was arrested for some unrelated offense, and then I guess they revoked his whatever he had, and he was sent to an immigration facility. But it wasn't just one immigration facility, it was multiple. Like, he said that he was kind of just shuffled around from facility to facility, and all of them were substandard. They were all small, like one room, you know, limited beds. Like, he said that people stripped down to their boxers because it was so hot in there. I'm considering like doing an interview or something like that, or like maybe like doing some kind of call with him just to kind of get his perspective like on that whole situation. But yeah, it's really crazy, and we don't really know. Like, we don't really know. All we have is accounts from people, and you know, the American media has a hard time getting a hold of them just because like, yeah, like
For food, given how little you're each getting?
Oh, absolutely there is, yeah. And there's a little bit of the discrimination, I guess, against English speakers here. You know, the Spanish speakers definitely get a preference when it comes to the extra food, if there's any extra food left over, you know, because all the staff are kind of Hispanic, and, you know, they kind of stick with their own when it comes.
interesting. All right, so I guess this guy is claiming that like the Spanish people are getting special treatment. You know, maybe that's true. I don't know. Or maybe this white guy is just like kind of pissed. It's like, yo, maybe he's a little racist too. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's true. We don't know.
That kind of stuff, you know, so we'd be extremely lucky to get anything extra, you know.
This is a guy who has been in the States for more than 20 years, has a valid work permit, has no criminal record.
It's also crazy to me that it's like people that have like decades inside aren't being deprioritized. Like that, I mean, that just goes to show you, like, they're not going after the worst of the worst. Like, that's just so provably false. Like, he's been here for so long, you know, with no, you know, because like it's not like the immigration system that we had before was particularly like cushy. Like, they called Obama the deporter in chief. He was deporting people left, right, and center. He was kicking people out left, right, and center, bro. But he was prioritizing criminals, and also too, he was doing a lot of deporting at the border, right? And a lot of Obama's practices were inhumane too, but they were just better than what we have right now. But like, that's just so indicative of Obama's presidency, because like all the Republican tools, he played with them, and he wasn't as cruel with them, but that just became more precedent to expand those tools in the future, and now Trump is doing it. It sucks, but it's true. I like Obama. I looked up to him as a kid, but he's kind of the reason why a lot of this stuff even stands. Tom Homan, he hired him in the first place,
He came to the U.S. in '09, overstayed a visa waiver, then ended up marrying a U.S. citizen, applying for lawful permanent residence. He received an exemption that allowed him to work. In other words, he's doing everything legally. Yes, he overstayed his visa.
I don't give a fuck if people overstay their visa, yo. Especially if you have like you're holding down a job, like you're contributing to the economy. It's like, bro, I don't give a fuck about that shit, son. Or like at the very least, like maybe there could be like some kind of probationary period, because it's like as long as they're not committing crimes, like who gives a shit? Like I don't care. But here's the thing, it's like I've never felt like I own America. Like there's white people in this country that just feel like they own America. Like America is their birthright or some shit to like fucking decide who gets to stay and leave. Like America is very multicultural. Like I feel like if all of us really voted on like certain shit, like people just want an immigration system that works and is fair, and it's just not right now. Like it's never been. It hasn't been in a long time, post 9/11 especially. Of course people want to move here. It's like we're the richest country in the world. Like we exploit immigrant labor all the time. Like they're willing to do jobs that no one wants to fucking do. So, like just because they want a foot in the country. Like is that not valuable? Like I don't know. Like are Gen Alpha gonna think that? Like I grew up in America where it's like who gives a fuck about immigrants? Except only like crazy people. Like but now I guess everyone has a different opinion on immigration all of a sudden. I don't know. I personally don't care. Immigrant girls are hot. Girls from other countries are sexy. I'm an American.
Which I can tell you, I know people who have done all around the world, and it is a civil violation. You cannot tell me like somebody who had a speeding ticket 12 years ago deserves to be in prison. And in many respects, this is going to resonate more within our society because he's English speaking. But I mean, can you imagine, like, you're in Ireland, you're hearing about this guy being detained for overstaying a visa and living in this type of squalor?
Yo, I swear, like other countries probably are looking at America like it's North Korea now, where it's like, all right, you can go there, but just be careful, because, like, they got the secret police that'll get you if you get too far out of line. Like, it's crazy that America's become one of those countries now. Like, that and it's not even worth it, bro. It's not even worth it, man.
She ain't boring, then she boring.